Merry Christmas! This is the last week of Christmas, and today we are celebrating Epiphany. So Epiphany is when we celebrate that the three wise men followed a bright star to find Jesus and bring him gifts for a king. So let me remind you of the story that we've been reading over Advent and Christmas. So we had Mary and Joseph, and remember they took a long journey to Bethlehem. And when they got to Bethlehem, they had to stay in a stable. And while they were there, Mary gave birth to baby Jesus. And then remember, the angel came and announced to the shepherds the good news that Jesus had been born. Well, that very same night at Jesus' birth, a bright star appeared in the sky. Right there. And far, far away, there were three wise men. Well, we think there were three. There were three wise men, or sometimes you might hear them called the Magi, which just means wise men, or sometimes you might even hear them called the three kings. And these three wise men who had been watching the sky and studying the stars, they saw the bright star in the sky, and they were filled with wonder. And they knew that it was a sign that a king had been born. And so they set out to find this king. And they had never even heard of Jesus or Mary or Joseph, but they followed the star. And it was a long journey. They came from far away in the east, and they went hundreds of miles. They probably rode on camels. They came a long, long way for miles and miles, and it probably took them a long time, many, many months. Here's our three kings. 1, 2, 3. And then when they got to Bethlehem, they brought gifts for baby Jesus. So what do you think a good gift would be to give a baby? Maybe bottles? Or maybe a nice warm blanket for the baby? But they didn't bring gifts like that at all. They brought three gifts: gold, frankincense, and myrrh. So gold they brought. Gold is a precious metal, and it's a gift for a king. And then frankincense is a type of incense, kind of like a perfume that has a strong smell, and it's a gift for a priest. And then they brought myrrh, which is like this sap from a tree. It's kind of like an oil, and it was a burial ointment, and it was given to somebody who was going to die. And so these are the perfect gifts to give to Jesus, who was the king and the high priest, and who would die for us one day. And so we want to remember, too, that Jesus, he wasn't just the king of the Jews, his own people. He's the king of the entire universe, right? For all of eternity, he is the king. Remember last week when we went inside the church and we saw the tabernacle with Jesus inside it, and we kneeled down and genuflected in front of it because he's our king, right? And so just like these wise men brought gifts to Jesus, we can bring gifts to Jesus too. And Jesus doesn't expect us to bring gold or frankincense or myrrh. He wants us to bring our small gifts. We can maybe give him our cheerful attitudes while we do our chores. Or we can give him a prayer of thanksgiving. Or we can even help someone who needs it, and that can be a gift to Jesus. So this week I want you to try and be like the wise men who followed the star in the sky to bring something to Jesus. I want you to bring your very best gift to Jesus.